Hi everyone. So for this video, just going to be talking about what a thesis is. You got me in full screen here. I don't have a document for you to look at. Um, we are probably familiar with the thesis. I mean, you've taken 101, and you should have talked about that. You could have probably talked about that in high school as well. But I just want to review what a thesis is. The idea is a thesis is the big idea that's going to be holding your entire essay, your entire writing project together. It is the one big thing that you want to be expressing. And one of the important things to keep in mind about a thesis is that it is your specific idea. It's not necessarily a statement of fact. A statement of fact isn't going to be good because you don't have to have an essay to prove something that's clearly factual. So we couldn't write an essay about the idea that if you know are holding something and you let it go, it will drop to the ground, right? We all know that that's true. That definitely happens, right? We know that gravity works. Having a thesis that is obviously true isn't any good for us because it's not, we won't have an entire essay to write. So when we're writing about literature, you want a thesis that says, look, here is my idea about what's going on with this poem, short story, play. These are things that are debatable, right? We can have different ideas about that. And that's a really important thing because in a lot of different kinds of situations in which you might find yourself, in other kinds of situations that don't have to do with literature, again, I know that most of us, most of you guys will never write another essay about literature ever again. But if you are, you're in a meeting and you're, some of you are majoring in business and we're talking about where we should open a new branch of the company, right? Should we open it in Chicago or should we open it in Los Angeles, right? There's not necessarily a clear fact answer to that, right? There would be some upsides to doing it one way, some upsides to doing it another way. And so if you were going to say, look, I think Chicago is going to be best, you would be able to present your evidence to back that up. Somebody else would present their evidence to say why they think Los Angeles would be best. And that's kind of what you're doing with your literature assignments, right? Somebody's going to say, look, this is what I think of the threads that connect the stars is about. I think that this is what the author wants to emphasize. Somebody says, well, I kind of thought there was something else going on here, and they say what they want to emphasize. And there isn't necessarily a clear thing where it can say, yes, that is completely the right answer. And a lot of the decisions that we make are not going to be ones that we can say, yes, this is definitely the right answer. The more complicated ones are going to be ones where there are good, costs and benefits on one side and costs and benefits on another side. And we have to kind of sort through that to see what is going to be the best decision, not as which is the complete right decision, but the one that, when we weigh everything out, here's what we ultimately think. And so there isn't necessarily, again, a clear sense of right versus wrong, but just on some level, just simply making your case. And that's what you want to be doing in these essays. And so your thesis is your big idea, right, that you want to make a case for. And then you are going to present evidence to be able to support that. Because an essay is nothing but evidence that supports your thesis. In this, when you're writing your outline assignment, I want you to organize that evidence, but realize all that you're doing is saying, here's the evidence to support my thesis. So you need one idea at the beginning, and then you need to support it. One of the problems that students sometimes have is that they think, well, I'm going to have one idea in my thesis, but don't I need another idea? Right, let me come up with another idea. Let me come up with, and start coming up with too many ideas. And I would say, well, if you come up with one idea, just give me one idea, and then provide evidence to support that one idea. Keep sticking with that. Sometimes students think, isn't that redundant? No, it's not, because you were just providing proof of that, and you want to provide good, solid proof of it. So you're going to come up with one solid idea for your thesis, and then you are going to support that with specific evidence from the text. So you're going to always be talking about that one idea from your thesis. If you find yourself talking about something not related to your thesis, then you're off topic, right? So you choose one good idea for your thesis, and you continue to talk about it. When I look at your outlines, that's one of the things I'm going to see. If you've got a good thesis, I want to make sure that you are always talking about that thesis, that you don't go off and start talking about something different. Okay, so so keep that in mind. These are your ideas about what's going on with the poem. Sometimes students might say, are you saying we can just have our own opinions? And I don't like the word opinion, but basically, yes. The reason I don't like the word opinion is because you don't have to prove an opinion, right? An idea is something we have to say, I provide some evidence as to why my idea makes sense. If you have an opinion, you can kind of just say, well, that's my opinion. I don't have to prove it. But an idea is kind of like an opinion, but it is an opinion that requires some evidence to prove that it makes some kind of sense. And so that's what we're looking for a thesis for this project. So keep that in mind. Again, then you'll watch the next video where I'm talking specifically about how to construct your outline. But a thesis is a big component of what you need to have there.